muting myself and forgetting. So sorry if I do that a lot.
Hello, and welcome to the PC Gamer Show for August 29th. 2018, still a great year to be playing video games on the computer. We got a good show today. Things are happening. It's a wild week in video games, and joining me for this wild week is none other than the wild man himself, Chris Livingston. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm wild.
I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. We also have Tyler.
Yeah, I'm also here.
Tyler's also here.
And I'm living.
He is living. Thanks for joining me, you guys. It was a bit of a surprising week. We got that crazy, nearly an hour long Cyberpunk demo just dropped on us right away. So we'll be talking about that in depth, I think. We'll be talking about sort of a breakout. What do I even mean when I say this? Breakout survival hit, but it's Devolver Digital's biggest launch ever. Scum, a pooping simulator, from what I gathered from Chris's preview. Maybe a little bit more than that. And we'll be answering your questions and sort of talking about what we've been playing in the meantime. But yeah. So before we get to the big stuff, Cyberpunk, what you guys been playing? Who wants to go first?
I can start. I've been playing two simulators.
Ooh.
One is called Battle Royale Simulator.
Oh, how's that?
It's not very good. It's cute. It has a nice look to it.
Right.
And basically, it simulates a Battle Royale match where you can kind of choose the parameters, how many players, 20, 100, 600. Don't choose 600 because part of your job, your only job really, well, one of your only jobs is to actually make the players jump out of the plane, the little tiny plane that flies over this little tiny map.
Huh.
And you have to click each time you want a player to jump. So I had to click 600 times to get all my 600 players out.
You could have made so many cookies in Cookie Clicker.
Yeah, it's a waste of finger energy, I think. And then you kind of watch them, I guess, loot. I looked at very closely. They don't appear to actually pick up stuff. They sort of run around slowly. And you do things like click on where you want the first circle to close and then click on the next circle, and which is kind of fun. I don't know, something kind of fun to watch the circle actually close. And they sort of shoot at each other, kind of. It's a little vague. And they don't seem to have much AI, these little tiny players. You can do airdrops. Again, I didn't see anyone run to an airdrop. Yeah, it's not very good. There's not much fun, but it's attractive looking. And it was like $350, so probably not that big of a deal.
Hard to be mad about that.
Yeah. There's a story on the site about it. I don't have the link because I'm totally unprepared.
You know, I'd expect like a Battle Royale simulator. The fun in that simulator would be to try to appease your audience, and like I would hope that they like simulate sort of the development of the ongoing development of a Battle Royale game. Like optimization is one sort of column you need to work on. The other is new features or something like that. The iOS version.
Go totally meta with it. Yeah, you'd have like angry Reddit threads popping up in your UI, and it would be probably horrifying.
I think another avenue to look at would be like setting up the Battle Royale match in terms of like hire a staff of people to run around the island putting gear and pants and ammo clips in every house before the match starts, but that might be too. It would probably be really boring. There is another actual game called Battle Royale Tycoon that's supposed to come out later this year. And I think that's more around like maybe designing the map or the arena. I don't know.
Okay.
But I think people are obviously trying to edge into the genre through different avenues, including simulation at this point.
It's so weird how quickly game creators can now react to trends and make these weird meta games around them, and how quickly genres seem to come and go. It's a strange time.
Yeah, it's true. And another simulator I played, Ultimate Fishing Simulator, which I'm pretty sure I also wrote about, and put some little fishing GIFs up. It's fun. It's a really nice simulator. I haven't played a whole lot of it, but it has a nice kind of anti-simulation feature where you can move your camera so you can like watch the hook that you've thrown in the lake. You can watch it from like 3 feet away, which doesn't feel very simish to me. It seems like you should be locked to your fisherman and not cheat by kind of watching the hook and waiting for the fish to bite. But I enjoyed it because it's just kind of fun to watch the fish kind of circle around and get real close. And there's also an ice fishing level,
nice,
which I know you're into, James.
Yeah.
Which was actually like I would always pick, like, I want to stand next to a lake or a river to fish. Ice fishing, like, I don't want to stare at a wall of ice. What's fun about that? But it was really fun because the fish were far more lively in this particular, I don't know, maybe it was a frozen river? I don't know. They were swimming really fast, so they would grab the bait and just, like, run for it. So that was kind of exciting. And they would come out of nowhere, too. Maybe it's just a different type of fish, but I haven't done any real fishing to judge.
Could you actually put a camera on your hook and have it feed to you in real life?
Probably. There's probably cameras small enough and waterproof enough to attach to a fishing line. I don't know.
I'm sure like someone's tried to do that, because I don't know if you guys are aware of this. This is totally off topic, but maybe you were aware of like the big skateboarding video scene, or you know how these extreme sports have their own like montage communities where that's like what you do is you go out and to represent your either yourself or the brand you're sponsored by, and you make these big badass montages.
Every time a skateboard is purchased, a fisheye lens is produced to correspond with it.
And growing up, my dad was part of the fly fishing version of that, except it's like with like 50-year-old guys who don't really know how to edit very well. And so you'd get these crazy like VHS edited montages set to some like just, you know, royalty free tune, often very like goofy sounding, and it would just be like them catching fish or floating around in their float tubes, forward and then reversed, for comedic effect or something like that. But anyway, I found out like it's still a thing, and with all the modern technology, like I go back to Missoula, and there's like fly fishing film festivals, and it's like these crazy montages with slow-mo and GoPros and drones and all this shit, all for catching fish, to show the cool ways these guys have caught fish. So there's almost no doubt in my mind, maybe not on a fly rod, someone has.
Yeah, it'd be pretty tough to put a camera on a fly rod. I'm sure they've tried it.
Anyway, welcome to the PC Gamer Show. So fishing sims, battle royale sims, anything else, Chris?
A game called Universe Sim, but I played like 10 minutes of it, so I'm not even ready to talk about it, but I'll be writing about it probably later this week.
Cool.
Yeah, visually it looks really cool, so I hope it's good.
Yeah, what's the elevator pitch for Universe Sim?
You're basically God, and you are kind of overseeing a planet from, it looks like Stone Age life to space age life. I think now it's in early access, and I think it goes up to like early medieval times. There's no high tech stuff, but it looks like a fun. I can't remember the last time I really played a God game, so kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And it does have a nice look to it.
I remember getting really excited about what was Peter Molyneux's last Goddess, bad name,
Goddess.
and that was just so disappointing because I loved Black and White and Black and White 2. So I'm hopeful. What about you, Tyler?
Oh me, I keep installing The Witcher 3 and then not playing it, and then deleting it to make room for something else. It just seems like such a big project to start. But I have been playing some Hearthstone.
Ooh.
Shame on me.
Hey man, it's all good.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the deck I have now, which is a Rogue Kingsbane deck, which not a lot of people are using as far as I can see, but it's doing pretty good in the general Boomsday meta right now. I like it because it looks like you're going to lose, and then you don't. And I like to make the experience as frustrating and upsetting as I can for my opponent. So I had a few good rounds that were that had to have been brutal for the other player, where it just looked like a sure victory for them, and I just got some lucky draws and pulled out the win. But other than that, I am setting aside time to play something in the future, starting on Friday, which is when the Divinity Original Sin 2, what are they calling it? Definitive Edition?
Yeah.
That's coming out as a free update for the PC version. And I never actually got to the very, very end of Original Sin 2. And I hear that, what they've said is a lot of the work they've done is in that third act, as far as, fixing problems with quests and changing dialogue. So I'm excited to now start over from the beginning with all these fixes in place and get to whatever sort of ending they were maybe hoping to make originally. I don't know exactly what inspired the changes they made. It could have been feedback or just further testing. It's a great game. Even though I have not technically actually finished it, I've played about 80 hours of it.
Damn.
And I'm totally happy to put another 80 hours in to the new edition. So pretty excited about that, but I've had to re-delete The Witcher 3 in preparation. Day. Yeah, another day. Its day will come eventually.
Maybe before Cyberpunk?
Yeah,
maybe.
Possibly.
The Definitive Edition update, it's pretty extensive from what I read, and I talked to, back at E3 or pre-E3, I talked to some of the team, and they said they pretty much rewrote that entire chunk of the game. So I'm super curious. I never got to that point. I played something like 40 hours and didn't even get close.
Yeah, so long. So. I made my own character. And this time I think I will do one of the origin characters.
Okay.
Because having that built-in personal story, I think, as my custom character, I was kind of I kept taking control of party members, so I could do their dialogue, but you don't quite get full control if you don't choose to play as one of them.
Right.
So I think, as much as when I start an RPG, I want to be my own character. I don't want to have a pre-written backstory. I think it probably is the better way to play in the case of Divinity.
Yeah, I've talked to I was playing as, was his name Fane, the undead.
Yeah.
And his whole arc was really interesting and was really sort of driving me through. It was an interesting story anyway, but it was really driving me through the game. So and I've talked to Wes about some of the other character stories a little bit without delving into spoilers, but he said they're pretty dang good because he played the whole game on with 4 people over co-op, which is wild to me. That's some dedication.
Yeah, I don't know how we managed to do that. I couldn't get 4 people to have dinner with me, even if we planned 2 months in advance.
I know. I've been trying to get people to play one person play Fortnite with me for almost a year now, so I don't understand. Anything else, Tyler?
That's what I'm focused on this weekend. Is just going to be a original Sin 2 binge, and yeah, that's really it for me.
Cool. I'll run through what I've been playing then, which is a decent amount. So I've been playing Fortnite. As always, it's kind of my beat, and I still enjoy that game quite a bit. I went back and did 7 weeks of weekly challenges to unlock the road trip skin. Every season now starts out with like a mystery skin that you unlock.
I already feel exhausted by this.
The challenges aren't that bad. They're just like a little samey. So I stopped doing them like immediately and just let them pile up and hammer them out. They could be better, and I think I complained about it in one of our highs and lows a couple weeks ago. Oh God, where'd Tyler go?
Tyler's gone.
There he is.
Coming back. So is it like a skin that you'll actually wear?
Everyone's pissed off because the skin sucks. It's like the top half is this. I think the name of the skin is the Enforcer, and this top half is pretty cool. It's like this mysterious, interdimensional, like I don't know, cop basically, from what I understand. But and it's got this cool armor, this hood, this like mask. But then its pants look like just jeans with knee pads. So it's not the coolest. It looks like they sort of, I don't want to say gave up because Epic does a lot every week with that game, but it's not the coolest skin for 7 weeks of dedication, I guess. Besides that, you guys maybe, sorry, my cat is moving around, have heard about this dang cube, this fucking cube.
I've heard about the cube.
It's so funny to me.
What is in the cube, James?
I don't know, but for those of you who've been living under a cube, a cube just appeared last Friday in Fortnite. A massive purple cube shot down, or was summoned, I guess, from, this all sounds so stupid every time I repeat it, a closing time rift in the sky, summoned via purple lightning. And the cube at first was just hanging out there. It's bouncy. If you attack it, it will strike you with lightning and shoot you away. But then the cube started moving like every hour and 43 minutes. It would tip over in one direction. And the cube has since moved somewhere closer to the center of the map. And just yesterday, the cube switched on in some way, I guess. It stopped moving for now. And now there's a big anti-gravity field around it, or low gravity field around it. So when the circle closes in on that area, it's actually pretty wild. It turns Fortnite into something not exactly like Tribes, because you're not skating around, but it's got a bit more of that floaty, lining up your shot way ahead of time. It's a little more chaotic and silly. And the theory is that the cube is going to keep moving, because someone did some data mining and like found out there's like 6 or 7 steps that might happen between now and the end of season 5. Season 5 is what we're on, where it might deploy more of these fields all over the map, or it might deploy different conditions at different areas all over the map. It's hard to say, but it's a very, I think it's one of the, like, it's a bummer because Fortnite's world is like has no, it has personality, but it has no like character. And this is one of the coolest like live events that's happening in games maybe ever. Just, it's an ongoing multiplayer shooter, and there's sort of like a story happening, keeping people's attention. And like I almost care more about the cube than I do about playing it. And it's a shame it's not happening. And I think we were talking this morning, Tyler, like Sea of Thieves. I wish Sea of Thieves had something. It has these cool world events, but they're not nearly as mysterious.
They're not really surprises. They don't develop over the course of weeks. They're kind of announced, and we get a ton of developer video updates, and then there's a shark in the game, and we go looking for the shark. But there's not this shared experience of all the players are seeing this one thing in the world and don't know what to make of it. It'd be so cool if they just put like a weird new island in, and all the ships would kind of coalesce around it to try to figure it out. It's not really like that. That doesn't mean that they couldn't do that, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'd love to see other games do this. Tim was mentioning like Destiny 2's
Mm-hmm.
hidden missions were cool. The feeling of like doing something in a game and you probably didn't, but having the thought of like, am I the first one to find this? Surely there's a Reddit thread somewhere that proves that you are in fact not.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily know that when you're playing, and it's cool to find something that isn't in the patch notes anywhere, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd love to see that in maybe some more interesting game worlds. Fortnite doesn't really appeal to me visually or um, as far as what I know about the design of that world. It seems like battle royale land.
Yeah, it's very much meme island, uh, and you know I can look past it because I enjoy playing it, and I just enjoy like these ongoing events. But yeah, I want to see this kind of. I know it's difficult, uh, but I would love to see this kind of pacing and
I want I want PUBG to just put a cube
yeah.
in and just say, "Is this what you want? Is this what you fucking want? Here's a cube."
I'd play. I'd start following the cube.
It really does make it fun to just like as someone who doesn't play, like I'm genuinely interested in the cube and like I
Yeah.
will like I was up, late and I'm like, I wonder what's going on with the cube. Like, did anyone find anything else? Like I don't play Fortnite. I don't really have plans to, but it's like it's just a fun thing. Like it's always great when you enjoy reading about a game even if you never play it. Like
Mm-hmm.
stories from Eve and um so it's just fun I think for even non-players to check it out.
I agree. And I'll move on, chat, because I'm becoming the new Tim, I guess, and bringing up Fortnite every game or every episode. But moving on quickly, I played some Destiny 2. Speaking of, last night I hopped back in because I think it's the 2.0 patch came out. It's preparation for the Forsaken expansion. I shouldn't say DLC because it looks like a big chunk of stuff coming. September 4th. But the patch came out yesterday. It changes a lot of stuff. And I haven't been staying on top of Destiny 2 like Tim has. But so I can't really it's hard to really wrap my head around like how significant it is. But just the ability to move different weapon types around to different slots is amazing. Like, it's crazy. It's like weird to think that they stuck shotguns and sniper rifles like in a special slot to begin with. So most people were just like doubling up on some
That's
variation of
usually the binary opposition in video games: shotguns and sniper
yeah.
rifles.
Yeah, like you couldn't even like really main shotguns in the same way like you could in the first game, and so you had these really sort of boring, samey loadouts, and now like they basically just took the training wheels off and said go. And Destiny is now, I think, you are more capable of being a broken or building a broken build character, and I think that's like sort of the point of those loot games. I mean, it's a shame they have to like balance everything with multiplayer in mind, and the multiplayer is probably going to be broken too. But I think like that's sort of what people want is just the meta to follow whatever is broken, and sort of like for that to be what people react to, rather than for the developers to sort of like, I don't know, put a fence up beforehand and expect people to stay within those bounds. So I don't know. It's cool. I'm excited to play more, especially once Forsaken comes out, because word is, at least according to their like looking ahead video doc that went out the other day, they're really hoping to incorporate more black, spindly, mysterious, cubey type events. So I'm excited to get back into Destiny 2. I don't think it's ever going to be the lifestyle game it is for Tim, or like Bungie wants it to be for a lot of people. But it is a very fun shooter that is now probably going to be more fun to play. So excited about that. And one more thing I've been playing is a game called Donut County. Have you guys heard of this video game?
I have heard of Donut County.
Yeah, so
I was interested as soon as I saw the word donut. So yeah, I'm familiar with it.
I'll pull up. Actually, let me just pull up a trailer to run in the background because the concept is sort of hard to explain. I think. Turn that down, and then switch here. Donut County is it's a game from Ben Esposito, I think his name is, and I played this at like Day of the Devs. Gosh. 2 or 3 years ago, and it's literally a game about holes. You just control a hole. I think Katamari Damacy, like, except instead of a ball that's growing, you are a hole that continually swallows objects in certain environments, and then grows as you swallow more. And it's like really simple. There's you can finish it in like an hour and a half. There's not a lot to really see beyond that, but it's these charming little like dioramas, a satisfying, it's like just it's like a very primal satisfaction to just like swallow an entire video game environment with a growing hole. And there's like these little vignettes that or a story that kind of runs through it with, I think, a pretty nice message. Transition here that is it's not really like shoved down your throat. It's not super preachy. It's just kind of like a very plain allegory, and I don't know, just charming. $10. I think it was $10 for me. It's on sale right now. It might be like 13 or 15 normally. Totally worth it. Just a very base satisfaction comes from destroying the world and swallowing it whole via holes. There's some like puzzly stuff in there too, so it's never like too simple, but yeah, it's a good time.
I want to play that, but now I want to play Katamari again.
Yeah,
because that was so satisfying too, just making things stick to
right?
you and getting bigger. More games should explore that, really. Just
that sensation,
messing with your environment as the entire mechanic. Yeah,
it's almost like a cleanup,
yeah,
or something like growth, or I don't know. It's just a tension and release. Maybe not for everyone, but I loved it. Let's see, and yeah, Monster Hunter World. Played a little bit more of that with Wes yesterday.
Are there any monsters left?
They never stop, Chris.
They never stop?
Yeah, I love that game, but man, it is, you kill monsters. You kill the same monsters over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And it's really fun to do, but I can only play in small bursts anymore. I'm like something like 50 hours in, and I'm still having a great time, but it's not like my main jam anymore. For some people it is. Like I know one of our club members, Apollo, I was concerned about him based on how much he played in that first week, but he's kind of a crazy gamer anyway, though. Anyway, yeah, that's it. That's all I've been playing. A lot of stuff. I'll be playing more because I'm going to Penny Arcade Expo tomorrow. I'm heading out to Seattle, and I'll be playing quite a bit. What was just announced today, we'll talk about it. I'll bring up the trailer during our Q&A section. Splunky 2. So I'll be playing Splunky 2. Some other stuff I can't really talk. I don't know what I can and can't talk about yet, so I won't even try to navigate that minefield. But some stuff is happening. It's officially fall. The next couple of weeks we got Forsaken, Destiny 2. We got Tomb Raider. We got, I don't know. It's just gonna snowball. So it's overwhelming. But let's talk about a game that's not coming out ever. Well, maybe. I mean, we know it exists now, which is good. It is a thing that is being developed, and that is Cyberpunk 2077. Was it Monday that we saw the debut of the video?
Yes,
Monday morning.
Came by surprise.
Yeah. CD Projekt put up a mysterious Twitch stream, as is the trend, and just played their whole 48-minute demo.
They kept explaining in interviews over and over, here's why we didn't show the gameplay
Yeah.
footage publicly, here's what we think about that, and then they just did it. So I don't know if they were just trying to throw us off, or I have no idea. But yeah, it came as a real surprise to me that they did, and I had not seen it. Most of us hadn't. If you weren't at Gamescom or E3, you would not have been able to see that. So
yeah, and man, it shows a lot. If you haven't watched it yet, go just don't do it now. Stick around. But after the show, we'll be showing clips from it. Go check it out because there's a lot to digest and pull from it. But overall, it just shows sort of the arc. It shows the arc of a quest, and some of the combat, some of the dialogue, the driving, a bit of the city and sort of the crowd systems and augmentations. There's a lot to dig in. But I kind of want to know what were the things that stood out to you guys? What were the most impressive features or moments? What was the most memorable?
There's a lot to kind of absorb from that. It was very long, and it did show a lot. I don't know. For me, it was just getting down to street level and stepping out into the city. I love a nice, big, crowded city, and they didn't really do much in the city per se. It was kind of like you said, following a quest line. But I just got that feeling of, oh, I can't wait to step out there and then just not do anything, related to a quest. I just want to walk around, see how the city is, see how these NPCs are, see if there's stuff to discover, and look at the detail and find out, how deep the city simulation really is. Follow people around, scan them since you have a scanner. So that to me was probably the really best moment for me.
Yeah, I think that was like super. I wonder because it looks so dense and tall, like these skyscrapers, and I don't think I've played I've never seen a Cyberpunk game like this before, obviously, but even Deus Ex and stuff, none of those games really communicated that kind of scale in the same way, and this is somehow an open world. It's really hard to conceive of how dense and maze-like and packed this world is, and how interactive it is.
I like the density of it.
Yeah.
When I think of a cyberpunk city, I think of just people layered on top of people with kind of winding, twisting paths throughout a city that's kind of been built in a ad hoc sort of way, without a lot of planning. So I like the look of it there, and I agree with Chris. Just the thing we see the least of is this, just walking around parts of the city, and I love how in gameplay demos they use a controller and really smoothly move like they're a drone camera. When 90% of players are just gonna hit the run button and go as
erratically
as quickly as they can to the next quest marker or whatever. But I just want a big interactive cyberpunk city. My least favorite bit of it was the entire quest. Not because it looks bad or unfun. The combat looks pretty fun, slow-mo shotgunning legs off. I can't really argue with that. But just this freeform exploration looks really fun to me versus the kind of, to me, very standard seeming, having grown up with Neil Stephenson and other authors, William Gibson, just very standard, doing a job for the Corp, and I gotta first augment my eyes and buy a robot thing from the tough gang guys who live in an abandoned warehouse. It all felt very cyberpunk, yes, but just didn't really seem to diverge from the popular conception of cyberpunk in any meaningful way. And granted, this is a vertical slice that just shows how the game works, we really certainly shouldn't try to assume anything too broad about the story or the characters from it. I just think we all generally felt like, that seems like the kind of quest you'd do in a Cyberpunk game.
Yeah.
I like I liked how freeform it was, how many options you had. That seemed cool. Um, it seemed like you could have gone about this quest in a bunch of different ways, which I like, and I hope they really play with that throughout the game in really interesting ways. It's a lot. If every quest is as complicated as the one they show here, that's pretty impressive for the size of the game we expect this to be.
Yeah, I'm curious to know. I don't know. It almost feels impossible to me. That kind of choice and consequence in such a massive world. Like, but I don't. It's CD Projekt Red. The Witcher had some of that, or at least like it had bubbles of that, which I think it was best at. A certain quest line like the Red Baron was its own sort of bubble of choice and consequence, and I have a feeling they can pull that off in a similar way. I don't know if it'll like
Yeah,
impact the world in meaningful ways, but it's I don't know if I care that much.
yeah. I think I hope a bit is there will be a few really amazing quests, like I've heard so much about from The Witcher 3.
Yeah. Uh, for me, I don't know if there's like one standout moment in general. I think, well, what I wrote about was just I think some of I'm not too impressed by its overall visuals, but I think let me see if I can fast forward. Something just like personally gets me is the car dashboard. I love a nice simulated car dashboard, fully modeled. And this one is just so busy and dumb looking. There's just switches and buttons and readouts and all sorts of extremely distracting nonsense. It's just so
Yeah.
it's so hokey that it works for me. It somehow feels like a piece of shit while still being futuristic.
Yeah, well, I sort of felt like I wanted like something I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
I can really never get enough of like futuristic cyberpunky like heads up display designs
Yeah.
and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll always enjoy seeing that stuff. And this is some pretty good car HUD design here.
It is pretty nice. Any other standout like moments for you guys, like small touches that you think are worth mentioning?
I really like the kind of that you're basically plugging like a USB cable into some dude's head to
Oh yeah.
infiltrate their network. Like it seems like there's some kind of remote hacky stuff, but also where you just pull a cable out of your arm and jab it in some dude's head, and then kind of infiltrate their network, and then you can disable or hack other people who are on that network. Which also was kind of funny to me because it's like this grubby gang, but they're all like sharing a server, and they've all obviously updated their drivers. They're all using the same version of the software. Where I'm sitting here at home, like, oh god, I can't remember the password to get into our group calendar site. Like this gang, this horrible, ugly gang is like they're really on top. They have like they're really up to date on everything. But I like hacking in general, not like doing a puzzle to hack shit, but I I enjoyed in Watch Dogs, like, oh, I'm gonna screw with this guy by making his phone ring or making his phone explode or something. I just find that fun to mess with NPCs via some sort of hacking, not game but ability. So that all looks kind of fun to me. I think in the trailer she made it so he couldn't shoot his gun because I guess guns are like mapped to your particular hand or something like that. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm curious to know like the combat and shooty stuff looks fun. Like it looks like baseline slow mo, sort of what I would expect it to be. Like nothing too surprising. But the hacking, I'm kind of wondering like how many systems are at play and how many abilities you can get like in by the end that will allow for more creative combat and problem solving. I don't know if it's just like skill check stuff, like solve this quest by or complete this quest by having this, because they do have a bit like that. You know, how can you escape this room? Is your engineering high enough to open this service box? Is your hacking good enough to open this door? I hope it's a little more like Deus Exy, and I hope it gets a little immersive simmy in that way. It's not just skill checks and pen and paper RPG stuff. But
Yeah, I mean, just like my impressions of it, it seems a little like a mix. But I agree. I would be down for it to be kind of open world Deus Exy. That would be interesting to me.
yeah, sounds like a tall order.
I still feel like I just want to walk around the world and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm also a fan of the smart gun where the bullets will chase the person you're shooting at, so you don't
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it does feel like they've done a lot of work to say, like, look, people who love The Witcher 3 and love our storytelling, like, we've included stuff for you if you're not a first-person shooter fan, you know. But yeah, I do hope there are lots of guns that are very reliant on accuracy and timing and stuff, because I feel like I can have fun for a while with like super high tech guns in a game, and I always love bullet time and Max Payne 1, 2 are two of my favorite games ever. But at a certain point, using my character abilities to find a weak point, like in this sort of boss fight, and then using my magic smart gun to auto shoot it, I feel like that's going to get a little bland.
Yeah.
So, but it seems like they're trying to cater to both sides. If shooting isn't your thing, look, we've put abilities and guns in that are gonna take a little of that burden off you.
Indeed. So I think we can all agree it's impressive overall, right? It looks like there's a lot going on, but I think we all came away with some concerns, and I want to hear what you guys liked the least about it, or what drove you the craziest about this 48-minute demo.
I like really thought the dialogue was pretty bad. Like not unusually bad. It felt very like video gamey. I guess I don't know what I was really expecting, but this sort of we're super cool, two super cool people having a conversation, so let's say cool stuff, really, Riley, and I don't know. I would just kind of roll my eyes at a few of the. Boy, that's some really not great writing, and like the delivery. I don't really blame the actors. I'm sure they were given direction of like just be the coolest person that's ever lived, no matter what you're saying at all times. Which to me isn't the way to be a cool character. You'll be a cool character by the things you do, and not the way you deliver a line. I thought it was pretty groan worthy. A lot of the dialogue, it did not feel at all. Maybe I'm looking for realism in the wrong place, but it did not feel like a human being would say anything remotely like most of that.
Yeah, I felt similarly. It was something I could imagine seeing in a Netflix Marvel show for sure. And I'm not a big fan of those, so that's not a compliment.
Not either.
But yeah, like V, to me, the dialogue, the main character's dialogue felt just a little bit too much like the snarky protagonist I'm used to. Like at the end when she cuts off the corp woman, it's like being a total bitch to like. It just felt kind of cheesy, and I didn't sense a lot of personality in V. I mean, again, caveat: this is a vertical slice they made to show how the game works. I'm not gonna judge it off of that. It just didn't get me. I got super excited for the world, not very excited for the characters I'm possibly interacting with or embodying.
Yeah. I mean, I get the same idea. Like, in The Witcher, Geralt's kind of wry sense of humor and snarkiness really it like develops over time, like, and it emerges sort of naturally from who at first appeared to be a very like typical grunty video game character, and this stuff just like I don't know. Like I get that Cyberpunk is sort of built on these exaggerated, extreme ideas of the future and people in it, punk. But you know, like if this world is all about immersion, as they say, and it's meant to be a simulated, you know, detailed, believable place, then I was hoping for a bit more. And again, like this is not to speak to the final thing, but at least in this slice, it didn't appear to me that anything it was going to be anything but hammed up, like or have any sort of sense of I don't know actual humanity to these people.
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
fine.
maybe it builds over time, and
Yeah.
we got to get to know the characters,
Yeah.
and we're gonna come to love them the way people love
Yes.
Geralt and all of the Witcher cast. You know, I keep caveating it, but you know, I don't want to like over stress some of these criticisms because we don't know.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to like dive uh, into one gameplay demo going, oh my god, it's the best, and there's literally nothing wrong with it, because we all know what happens when we do that and a game comes out. And then everyone who was telling us that we were being cynical, you know, if we criticize the demos, if they don't like the game, they go, you hyped it up too much.
Yeah. So it's just I don't know. It stood out to us that I think most of us that the dialogue was I don't know didn't have much tact.
I think we all agreed. Yeah.
Anything else that you're sort of worried about, or that didn't impress you, or you wish was different, or is I think the dialogue was pretty much it for most of us. I mean,
we're getting into a trend. This isn't the game, but the trailer itself, like a narrator that
yeah.
narrates the hell out of it. Like I remember enjoying, or at least thinking, "Oh, that's new." I think it was like a GTA 5 online or GTA Online trailer before it came out. That was like, "Here's the things you can do," and it kind of like sounded like a sales pitch, like for maybe like a yacht that you could buy. Like it just was very informative, like very cool. Just someone informing you of the different things you could do, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's a kind of a different way to narrate a game trailer. But now it seems like it's just getting really not very good at all. Like this narrator talked, I think, too much and described things that were happening right on the screen. Like you found loot. Like, yeah, I know, I can see it. It was a little overbearing, I thought.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, it turns the game into this thing where everything is not so much fun or exciting or at all mysterious, but a feature to be discussed and described in detail. It kind of had the effect of making it a little less exciting to me. I almost just kind of want to see a gameplay video where I'm like, how does that thing that he did work? That'll be cool to explore. But instead, we got the presentation that you might give to your marketing team or whatever to explain what the game is and how it works and what the talking points are about each feature.
Was that narration nude?
Well, I think the E3 and Gamescom demos had a person in the room,
person there,
right,
talking through it. They didn't show a video with narration.
Yeah, I think like some stuff was good to explain. Like, otherwise you'd be like, I don't really have no idea what's happening in this portion. But it was a bit much.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have known what was going on in moments, but we can figure it out. We're going to be playing this game, so hopefully we can figure out how it all works as we play.
I guess to close on Cyberpunk, it's kind of annoying that this. I won't say it's annoying, but it's frustrating because like this big chunk, this big slice, it does not necessarily mean it's gonna come out soon. Even if it looks super far along, we didn't get a window or anything like that. I think CD Projekt just Wanted to make sure people knew it was a game that is in development, and that I think we heard that it is playable from start to finish, but I don't even know what that means in developer terms. There's probably a lot of the world and bug testing and so much more to implement.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, you know, if you recall, The Witcher 3 was delayed. Not a huge amount of time, if I recall, but I think CD Projekt is aware of how much they're promising with this, and is going to stick to the when it's done line for probably a while, another year, maybe. I don't know. Before we get a release date, I mean, not before it releases. But yeah, could be wrong. They could surprise us, but
yeah, it's always hard to see like that much. Like at QuakeCon, there was suddenly like, here's like 20 almost unbroken minutes of Doom Eternal, and it's like, okay, why can't I play it at this event too? It's like it's not ready to be played, and it's hard because like that all looks really ready. It looks like I could easily play what you just showed me. So it is tough to kind of just go, well, I guess I'll sit here for another year or two thinking about how cool that looked.
Yep, and it's not even up to when it's done. Like strategically, when should they release it? And in terms of like, you know, what hardware it's capable of running on, and what other games it's going up against. Though I think Cyberpunk will probably be the one developers try to avoid the release window of, but it's still going to be, I think, a couple years out. I would think. But looks good. Looks good. I'm excited to see another demo next year, or maybe play one.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. It's definitely a game where we're going to look back at this footage in a long time, and I don't know. I mean, if this is as early as we think it is, although we're not really sure, there's always those games where you go back to the actual first footage and you kind of laugh because the end result looks totally different in some way.
Let's talk about some other shit, quite literally. Chris, you've been playing this game. It's a game called Scum. We mentioned it early on. This is a Devolver Digital published, yeah?
Yes.
Survival, early access survival sim that somehow, you know, we talked about this earlier. Like, I wouldn't think these games would be finding success still, but this one is grabbing a lot of eyes and a lot of players. And you've been playing it yourself. That's right.
Yeah, I think I played about 8 hours now, only a couple days ago. And it's you can play single player or on a server.
Cool.
At the time I tried to play on servers and find other players. This was before launch today, so there were some servers with people on them, but I couldn't actually find any. So most of my experiences single player.
So, I hear you're serving a life sentence without
really
parole.
where to start.
Seems you were a bit of a
DayZ, if
badass
you're
on the
familiar with
outside.
DayZ,
Think you got what
have
it
a pretty
takes to
good
be a
leg up
badass
on
inside the system?
what type of game
well,
this
have I
is.
got an opportunity for you.
You start with
Here on
like
Tech
shirt
One
and pants
Scum
and nothing
Island,
else.
You'll have the chance to explore
in the
144
middle of some map,
square kilometers of
and you
terrain with a
need to survive
variety of
by
unique environments.
eating,
We have
drinking,
regular day and night
crafting,
cycles
fighting
and dynamic
zombies.
weather
There's
patterns to keep
houses
things
to loot.
interesting.
There's woods with trees to chop down.
The island has many hidden
and
treasures for you to discover.
this,
Remember
Tyler
to stay away from
wrote a
restricted
preview
areas.
of this
It may
game
be
back in,
tempting
I
to
think,
loot them
April,
for supplies,
of
but
kind
these
of
areas
some
are
of the
heavily guarded
simulation
and
that
you
is
will be shot on
included
sight.
in kind of what they're shooting for in terms of like,
Before you
doing
set
some pretty
foot on the island, you're
complicated
going to have some
um,
decisions to make about
simulation
how you're going
stuff
to
in terms
approach
of
your new surroundings.
your health
what
and your
kind of
body and
competitor
your
are you going to be?
internal organs
Strong,
and
stealthy.
the food
However,
you
you
eat and the
choose to
minerals and
start
vitamins,
out.
and it's
Remember
all
that you will
kept track
grow and
of
mature
as
during
you
the event.
play.
Experiences.
So you have this massive menu of different stats on your body, and the thing you just ate, you can see what kind of minerals it gave you, and vitamins, and how full your stomach is. And as this stuff is all passing through your system, it's all very finely tracked. So yeah, when I eat a part of a dead zombie, I can see how it's doing in my system.
So does like, I guess my cat's trying to kill me. What I wonder is like, how does like the survival simulation like articulate over time? Is it very much like the same kind of? Despite all these things, do you need to worry about everything you're eating? Are you still running into players at random and sort of just looting homes and expecting? You're looking for those like kind of emergent moments. Is that sort of like the appeal?
Yeah, I mean, like the conceit here is you're part of this futuristic game show where you've been implanted with a sensor in your head and you're dropped on this island to try to survive. I don't know how that really plays into the game. I have found on a couple occasions now, like this facility where there's the like mech, a very angry mech robot stomping around that will shoot you to shit if you see you. And it looked to me like there was an interior. So there may be like further stuff happening surrounding it, but it's yeah. I mean, it's survival. You run around and try not to die and look for other players. You can craft shelters. I think temporary shelters at the moment. I don't know if there's base building or not. And there's also kind of RPG elements because when you create your character and decide like their attributes, their muscle mass, their dexterity, things like that, and then you can pick skills. And as you play, if you build up muscle, you'll, I guess, get stronger. And if you can kind of level up these skills a bit, and it even includes things like tactics and enemy prediction so you can see through walls. So there's a lot of like kind of simulation stuff going on. Or that is planned. I don't know how much of that's in there at this point.
Yeah, I talked to them at PAX East. That's when I wrote that preview, and they talked to me about how they were trying to make these like RPG stat-based things, how they were trying to incorporate that into an FPS. Like, I don't know what the stat is called in the game, but it was like perception would be done by if a player is hiding, prone or something. It'll be easier to see them if you have a higher perception. So it's kind of an interesting mix of, D&D's dice rolls with a real-time shooter, which is kind of a hard thing to do because generally people who are just more skilled at a shooter are always going to be better at it. That's probably the case here, but the metabolism thing is really the I don't know, the thing that makes it really special and distinct. The idea that if you eat poorly, you'll lose muscle mass and gain, body fat percentage will increase. I don't think a game has ever simulated metabolism to this depth, Chris. I also know you had some stomach problems when you played.
Yeah. So yeah, the food, like I said, is tracked as you eat it, and you see a breakdown of what it was, and then it begins passing through your various digestion system organs, and then it comes out as food does.
Yikes.
And yeah, so there's pooping. There's I think I'm gonna call it advanced pooping because it is technically diarrhea, but I feel like it's kind of like it's leveled up pooping because it happens very quickly. And all over the place, which, like, to be fair, like, I could see that being a problem if you were playing a shooter and say you're in a fight or in a tactical situation and you have not taken care of your diet well and you suddenly like explosive diarrhea while you're in a fight. I could see that being a factor as opposed to just like something gross that happens now and then. So that's interesting. I think that's interesting. I've also vomited. You can do these things voluntarily, by the way. If you notice that you have to pee if you've been drinking a lot, your character will do like the kind of I have to pee dance. There's also like a little text notification. Sometimes it says I really need to pee or urinate, and then you can choose to do it. So also tactical. I mean, if you're about to go raid a bunch of buildings where there's zombies, you might want to first make sure you've taken care of your bathroom needs so you're not interrupted in the middle.
We should have known this is where this whole genre was heading. Because like back when DayZ was a mod and we were super excited about it, like this is wild, players can just kidnap each other. Like every update, we'd cover every update, and it would be some new little piece of fidelity, like, oh, now you can properly open cans with a can of, or whatever it was, It was like you needed a new tool to do a new thing. So just almost fidelity for the sake of fidelity. How realistically can we simulate the human body and all the horrible things that it does? It's where we were headed all along for the past 6-7 years, or however long it's been. Not that long.
I'll link to Chris's sort of first impressions piece of it, and there content warning, there's some pooping and diarrhea gifs, and I gotta say, like, the pooping gif is a little too should I say real? It's realistic, or at least it's like detailed. There's even like
goes through his pants.
Yeah, that's the funny part. Is like you don't pull your pants down. When you get diarrhea, he at least mimes pulling his pants down and then just sprays all over the concrete. It's fucking awful. But the pooping animation, in Ark, there it's just like I think your guy just goes, there's a fart noise, and then a big ball of dung appears behind you. But in this, like, the guy crouches, he looks like pained or shamed or stressed, one of those. And there's even like a little like jiggle. It's the worst thing.
There are sounds too. Like I spared everyone by just putting GIFs that don't have noise, but like there's a host of sound effects, and there's wiping animations, and then it's pretty gross. It's a pretty gross game.
Does anything happen if you don't have any hygiene products with you to wipe?
No. Well,
that'll be in an update where you'll get some horrible disease if you aren't able to clean yourself.
That's entirely possible. I'm sure there's a host of diseases. I haven't, except for getting some like intestinal issues and vomiting once from eating too many mushrooms and drinking too much soda. I haven't gotten any like long-term sicknesses, though I'm sure if they're not in there now, there are plans to be considering. I've been eating zombie flesh because it's the best source of food I can find.
I'm gonna turn this into a feature pitch meeting. I want to like pick other games that should have this metabolism feature.
Like BioShock Infinite, where you eat everything. You imagine Booker taking a shit after eating like 4 cakes and 8 hot dogs and
just constantly telling everyone to stop for a minute and running.
Elizabeth Booker throwing you the toilet paper. I can see it.
That would be good. I think that would be good. So many games use food as health, and so we're constantly just scarfing things down. Like the type of dumps my character in Skyrim would take would be ridiculous. All those wheels of cheese, he would be a mess.
Oh, it would take days to pass all that cheese.
You would be.
I need like a dragon shout to like
get halfway through a dungeon and just like, well, gotta go back up.
Gotta take a first road dump.
Here we go.
All right. Well, that sounds like a feature already half written. So look for that.
We'll have that up
Gamer next week.
Shortly.
Yeah. And so Scum, it seems like a sort of what you'd expect with almost like satirical levels of simulation in some respects. There's also like a renown system, or like from what I understand.
Yeah, there's like a fame system. I'm not quite sure how it works. I know as I do stuff, like I think it's called. You can probably see it in some of the screenshots or the GIFs, but you get points for doing things. I'm not sure how I decided. At one point I was -23, and I didn't know why. Maybe because I got this shit kicked out of me by a zombie. But later, after crafting and scavenging and killing zombies, I had 160. And one thing they're used for is when you respawn, if you have enough points, you can pick the zone you want to respawn in. That's one feature. Maybe there's more.
Gotcha.
I'll be playing more of it. They had some server troubles today, as you might think from suddenly being intensely popular. But they've released a patch, so hopefully I can join some multiplayer games and see how that is.
Do you know how many people per server Have they mentioned like a cap of any kind?
There were 64 player servers I saw
Gotcha.
on the list. So
a lot of people, and the map is like really big, from my understanding.
It's 144 kilometers.
Damn.
It is big. I mean, it's big. What is PUBG 8?
Oh shit. Okay.
I think PUBG and DayZ are both. I can't remember how big DayZ is. But yeah, this is huge. This is huge. I ran and ran. I looked and I covered just a tiny little portion of it. So
cool. That's Scum, everyone. It's
Scum.
Pretty cool, funny, bizarre take on the early access survival game. And I know that there are plans for vehicles and all sorts of updates too. So
yeah, there's also events like death matches. You can, as you're on a multiplayer server, you can open a menu and be like, "Hey, I want a death match," and if enough people join the group, you can have a death match. Like I said, when I played, I tried to join, but just not enough time. So
right, cool. And with that, why don't we move on to questions and then close out the show for the day? We got some good ones here. Let me get those up. Boing. Right on. So if there are questions in Twitch chat, just tag PC Gamer, and we'll get to you if we can. We do prioritize Discord, PC Gamer Discord members. They give us their answers usually ahead of time. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go to club.pcgamer.com to find out more. It's a $5 monthly subscription service. You get an ad-free experience on the site. You get a digital subscription to our magazine. You get a free game each month. You get an invite to our club Discord. You get high-res photos of Tub Geralt. You get whatever beta keys. Excuse me. Shouldn't be drinking sparkling water during this show. You get whatever beta keys we get. We'll send your way first. And yeah, it's a nice way to support us directly. So we appreciate it if you do that. That's club.pcgamer.com. Jeff Rowe, sorry, no demo discs in the club membership, but I'd like to imagine a future. Let's get to our first question. And I'm going to start with the last question I received, actually, because Chris86 says, celebrating the new Spelunky 2 trailer, I'd like to ask, how much rogue do you like in your games? Do you prefer roguelikes without permanent progression or roguelites with permanent elements? And before we answer that, I want to just pause and ask you guys how you feel about the... I'm assuming both of you watched the Spelunky 2 trailer. We saw the gameplay for the first time. Were you guys Spelunky fans to begin with? Tyler's not?
I was not, no.
I really like Spelunky despite being not great at it. I think it's a really neat game with some really wonderfully fun design.
I didn't think it was bad at all. It just wasn't for me.
Gotcha.
I am not patient and careful. That game is for people who are patient and careful. I am reckless and stupid, so I would say no, I'm not a big fan of a lot of rogue in my games. So some games I managed fine. I enjoyed FTL a lot. Maybe it was just more forgiving to me, or maybe I just had more fun restarting it. But yeah, the whole not dying thing is not really my jam. I like games like Super Meat Boy or Lovely Planet that are really hard, but it's also you're kind of meant to die over and over and over and over again. You just reset right back, a few seconds before when you died.
Right, I'm somewhere in the middle. I think, at least in terms of Spelunky 2, I think I tend to not like roguelikes for that reason. Like I unless the systems are so interesting to me, and that's why I admire Spelunky. I've never finished it. Unless the systems are so interesting and funny, and you can hop in and just even if you fail, it's usually the result of some wacky coincidence. That I like, but I don't like what the hell is it called? The game all about guns. Enter the Gungeon. Like when you failed, it was because you just got hit too many times and you got a bad. The dungeon you got was difficult. The guns you didn't get, or the guns you got weren't enough, and you're just bad at the game. So a combination of there's no like surprising way to die in that game, which I just that kind of thing. I just as fun as it feels to play, I can't really stand it for
I
too
will
long.
say that I thought Spelunky's multiplayer, competitive
Yes.
multiplayer, was way underrated. That was a super fun game to play with other people, like all together with controllers. I don't know. We had a great time, my friend and I, just setting really stupid kind of modifiers and I don't know, blowing up the whole level or doing whatever.
What will make it more
never took off
palatable?
like that.
Spelunky 2 is more exciting than the first game for me because it's got online multiplayer. So all of us together can just be bad at the game and have fun in that way. Even if it's probably gonna be way harder with multiple people, but
yeah, because in the co-op in the first game you could like mess with the other person, right? Like as a ghost.
Yeah.
So you could totally screw them up. Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think it would probably be like a relationship ender to really seriously try to play through Spelunky with someone. Like because someone across the map sets off something that sets off something else that winds up killing you both. But it definitely be fun to jump around and destroy each other without really caring.
I'm with you. Plus liquid physics, so be able to drown each other and
oh boy, I'm going to be so bad at
dump lava
too.
Oh, it's going to be awful. It's going to be great, but it's going to be bad for us. Thanks for the question, Chris. JBJ Blaze. So JBJ Blaze asks, which game are you guys most looking forward to in this last, I don't know what this means, month less a week of summer? Month to a week of summer, is that what he means? For me, it's hard to say, but I may have to call it Distance since it finally officially releases on my birthday. I don't know what Distance is, but is that a racing game of some kind? Yeah.
It is. I have heard of this game.
But yeah, so is there anything you're sort of looking to in the last the dog days of summer?
First, I think he meant month less a week, as in like a month less a week. 3 weeks, last 3 weeks of summer.
Is that a term? Is that a term?
You could say, yeah, you can say less, like to mean.
Wow, I've never heard it that way. What's wrong with me? Gosh.
Nothing. It's just.
It's just a weird phrase for me. A month less a week. Anyway.
Anyway, 2 Point Hospital is out today. Is that correct? Is it coming out?
Oh shit!
Did that come out today?
I believe tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking to that. I could use like a nice sim, and since I've been playing Battle Royale sim and fishing sim, why not a hospital sim? That sounds fun.
Looks pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm with you. Except those, what are they? There's some parasite or something in there that you have to squash little bugs. It looks so gross. You have to click on them, and you have to like move furniture, and then they start just like.
Isn't that like unibrows or something?
Yeah, then their eyebrows or something. Ugh, I don't know if I'll be able to play it for that very reason.
Does that bother you, James?
Yeah,
I have
gets to me.
I have a terrible fear of hospitals that I don't know where I got. So this one looks like silly and cartoony enough that it wouldn't bother me. But like when a horror game takes place in a hospital, I almost can't play it usually. I already said I am hugely looking forward to restarting Divinity Original Sin 2 with the definitive edition. Yeah, that is super exciting for me because I just have been meaning to like I should finish it, and then when I heard about this, I was like, oh, I have an excuse to like put it off for a while and play other stuff, and now my excuse has run out. But I think I gave it enough time that I'm excited again. As far as anything else I haven't mentioned, I don't know what else is coming out this summer. I should probably know that.
When is the last day of summer? First of all,
sometime in mid-September, right, or late September.
I have no idea, honestly, but.
Aren't they usually on the 21st, or is that am I crazy?
Okay, so that includes Tomb Raider's coming out before then. I know that Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Personally, I'm looking forward to Destiny 2 Forsaken. And Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Like I wrote a preview on it because I got to play the first 4 hours I don't know if I talked about this, but a couple weeks ago I did talk about it. And the adjustable, like the variable difficulty settings, like made me excited about that series again, if only because it's going to make the puzzles harder and let me like, and independently make the puzzles and platforming harder while making the combat super easy. Which means I can just like sprint through the story and just do fun tactile physics spelunking, which I'm all about. I think that game is that series, at least the interactions are really, really satisfying. So to make them a little more challenging too, if they're designed well, could be fun. Even if Lara is just a monster. She's a lot worse.
Yeah, that preview you wrote is really good. I recommend everyone read it if they want to know about the new Tomb Raider.
Cool. Did you all answer? I'm forgetting already.
I think so.
Right on. Let's go to Acid Wolf. Triple threat. This is answer this quickly. Pick, what do they call them? Hot minute, something rounds. Jesus, I'm not meant to host shows. Lightning rounds. Hot minute.
Hot minute round.
Wait, a hot minute. That could be a new feature on the show.
Why? Oh my god. Why am I here? Pick one game from each of the following 3 pairs for any reason you want. And you've probably not played all these, so I don't know if this will work. Diablo 3 or Dark Souls 3?
Diablo 3.
Dark Souls 3, because I love reading about James writing about Dark Souls 3.
Correct. Sorry, Tyler. Incorrect.
That's okay. That's okay.
Rainbow Six Siege or Destiny 2?
Rainbow Six Siege.
Siege.
Yeah, I would say Siege
Sorry,
2.
James.
It's like Destiny 2 is fun, but Siege is one of the most interesting multiplayer first-person shooters ever made. I know Tyler's answer. Dead Cells or Rocket League?
Rocket League.
I will also say Rocket League.
I will also say Rocket League, though I
don't feel comparable.
Yeah, I was like, I'm kind of wondering where that one comes from, but I do want to play Dead Cells. Everyone loves it, even though it's another roguelike. I think
I was too strongly against roguelikes. I was kind of kidding. I am stupid, but now that I look back, there are lots of games like that I've liked. I don't always mind starting at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know. It has to be inherently fun to play. And
yeah, I guess what I would say is it's hard to get right.
Yeah.
Sometimes a roguelike just feels like it's being mean to you. It's not very fun.
Yeah, when it's being mean, it doesn't. If it's too
Don't
mean.
be mean. Be nice.
Anyway, thanks for the question, Acid Wolf. Let's see. Oh yeah, Maniac 86. Do your gaming interests / genres line up with any other media you're consuming? I.e., if I'm currently playing a World War II game, I probably also read a related history book, maybe watch a documentary as well. If sci-fi, the same thing. Do you guys tend to like branch out from games you're playing and seek similar media?
Yeah, I mean, from time to time, I remember playing, which Call of Duty was it? Maybe 2. That kind of kicked me off into like a World War II thing. Where like, you know what, I should probably read some more books, and I think I read 2 or 3 books and maybe watched a documentary or something. It kind of they can kind of chain. It's like a combo chain of getting your interest and keeping your interest in a particular subject.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever like played a game and thought like, I guess I've probably played like sci-fi games like Mass Effect and been like, there's probably a lot of great sci-fi books I've missed recently. I should go look for some. I can definitely get in like a space mood where all I want to do is space games, space books, space TV. That would probably be the main thing.
For me, I have to really like when it comes to books. If I'm reading a book, I'll seek media like TV or movies that are related to it, but it doesn't happen a lot for me with games. And I'm thinking because like most games I play are not like great examples of genre fiction, or like they're
Yeah,
They're
I don't
good.
tend to read books about various like anti-terrorism squads fighting each other for some reason, with detailed descriptions of how the plaster walls break apart. That's not really my style of like
Yeah.
genre of fiction.
The overlap is limited, I think, or like at least in terms of like what I mean, like when it comes to Rocket League, what are you gonna do? Like go read about Hot Wheels and balls? I don't know. Like, so the overlap's not always convenient. When it comes to like something like Dark Souls, like Acid Wolf brought up, the genre of fiction is like super strong to me, like in that dark fantasy, it really got its hooks into me, then I definitely go seek out like, all right, what inspired the creative direction of this game and the artists, and there's a lot of berserk and strange old fantasy like Gene Wolfe comes to mind. Have you guys read Gene Wolfe at all? He has a series called, or 2 books called The Wizard Knight. It has this really like stark, plain, almost like surreal fantasy, which doesn't make sense because fantasy is already kind of surreal. But anyway, it's very rare. But if I love a game enough, I'll definitely go branch out. It's just, I don't know, it doesn't happen as often. Anyway, thanks, Maniac. Okay, here's a big one. Mildos, your favorite desk snacks for PC gaming marathons. What's your go-to munchie?
I was talking about this with you already, James,
Yeah.
in our work chat. I'm getting into those chia seeds.
Ooh, tell me about this.
Well, they're little seeds, and they taste okay. They don't taste bad, and they have a lot of protein in them, like iron, probably some calcium, a ton of fiber. Very good for you. And I'm into them, but they get stuck in your teeth. I have to brush my teeth like 5 times a day to get these damn little seeds out.
Oh shit! That's
But
price you
yeah, I
pay.
don't know. I'm trying to eat better. I'm on a diet, so I'm not allowed to have snacks.
Ah, bummer. But
I've cut snacks out of my life.
I try to do that, but Adriana won't let me. I don't know. I understand how someone so small can just like constantly intake all the time. Speaking of, something I can't quit eating is plantain chips. You guys into these plantain chips at all?
I think I've had a plantain chip. I don't think I was blown away.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like I think they're better for me, even though they're drenched in oil and salt. Like it's just like, oh, it's a banana thing. It's a banana looking thing. I just it's all a mind game. What about you, Chris?
I tend to not eat at my desk while playing a game in general.
How do you stay fueled for those gaming marathons?
Where's your gamer fuel?
I take a break and eat something and come back. I don't know. Like I don't play a lot of multiplayer, so it's like I need to sit in one place without getting up. I mostly just drink coffee when I'm playing games. If I have a snack, I don't know. I like gummy bears, but I don't buy them hardly ever, so I couldn't really call it a gaming snack.
I guess if I were snacking, it would be almonds, salted roasted almonds, or just mixed nuts. Not
Savory.
Good. Yeah, so savory. And I should have said a coffee too. I always have it.
Yeah.
Even if I don't want coffee, I have a full mug of coffee.
Same. I have coffee.
I drink too much coffee.
And then it gets cold, and then I'm go make another.
You just
one.
kind of like, I hate that. Like you're at the desk, you got a cold cup of coffee there, or it's like the dredges at the bottom, and you just kind of.
You need a Yeti mug. Sucker will
look at
keep
that.
coffee hot. Like I'll think like, oh, this has got to be cold by now. Like for hours.
Damn.
Like I've left the house to do other things. Like still, it's amazing.
It's hell of an endorsement. PC Gamer Show brought to you by Yeti's ability to keep our coffee warm.
I'm gonna get one of those.
I got a Yeti mic. You got a Yeti mic and a Yeti mug. So.
Wait, not the same company, right? Different company.
I'm pretty sure not. Well, this is a Blue Yeti mic, but I don't
it's
think
Blue microphones.
It's by
That's
Blue.
Right. That's right. Who is now owned by Logitech, I think. Anyway. We have one more, I think. Here we are. Yeah. Turdog. What are your thoughts on the pricing for the NVIDIA 2000 series? And do you think we could see a 2060 video card down the line? So the pricing, I don't know it from memory, but I do know the 2080 Ti was, I think it was around 1,000, right? And the lowest, the 2070 was sitting somewhere around 400 to 500, depending on whether you get the Founders or another card. So how do you guys feel about the price? Do you think it's, I mean, like, it's hard to say because we don't have performance numbers, but as a consumer, does it, if you distance yourself from your job, maybe, like, do you look at that and go, I'm going to buy one of these. It seems worth it.
Oh, God, no. I couldn't afford that right now. I would wait for it to get cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I'm just used to it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm usually running a generation behind. Like right now I have a 980. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to get a 1080, it would be fine. I wouldn't get ray tracing, which is exciting. Unfortunately, every now and then you get a new line of video cards that isn't just faster, but has some huge new feature that everyone kind of wants to talk about. So, yeah, maybe I will have to buy one so that I can capture like ray tracing effects and show them off when I'm playing Battlefield 5 or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's always like this to me, you know. I mean, I don't remember what the 1080 price was when that came out.
It was up there, but I don't think it broke 1,000. It's been a while, so. But this is definitely a lot, at least out of the gate. And I don't think they launched. Don't they usually bring the Ti later, if I remember correctly? A couple months after. I don't know. For me, it's like as a normal human, it's not something I would buy out of the gate, but it's certainly it's tempting to get one of like the 2070 for.
I know you want to see all the cool new effects, and
Mm-hmm.
they're pretty good at marketing these things. NVIDIA, doing it a while.
Yeah.
They got cool, exciting words, fancy reflections, but yeah, my inclination is to wait until they're cheaper. It's always, you know, especially the Founders editions. They're gonna sell out, for sure, right? So Nvidia can kind of price them at just about whatever it wants for those big spenders. The rest of us just wait till we get a better one, a better price.
Yep.
I agree with everything you just said.
Perfect.
Plus, I feel like, oh, I'm gonna buy a new GPU. Oh, I should probably upgrade my CPU. Oh, you know what? My monitor is not nearly big enough to appreciate this, and I eventually wind up, needing 14 different things and bankrupting myself. So
yeah, that phenomenon is the worst. I did that a while ago, and it was the stupidest thing. It was memory. I was like, I only have 8 gigs of RAM. I want 16. Wow. Now I've upgraded it. My programs run just a little better. I need to get an SSD and put everything on that. And then by the time I was done, I had a new motherboard, a new CPU.
It snowballs.
Yeah.
Soon. Yeah. Soon you're going to need that gamer chair we were looking at in chat
God.
this morning. What's that called? I don't know. I'll link to it before we dip out, but it is obscene. It looks like, I think Tim shared a picture, an image of that like weird spaceship from Alien where the motherfucker is like jacked into this awful H.G. Geiger looking monster machine. It's the worst. But hey, that's gamer aesthetic, I guess.
called
Cool.
Thronos.
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 From Acer.
Acer Predator Thronos.
The Thronos.
That's not it. That's one of the worst product names I've heard. That's up there.
Maybe they're trying to evoke Thanos. Get on that Marvel brainwave. Cool. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for all the questions, everyone. Thanks for chatting with us while we talked about all the latest and greatest in PC gaming. You can always catch us at 1 p.m. every Wednesday Pacific time at twitch.tv/PCGamer. You can catch up after the fact at youtube.com/PCGamer or PCGamer.com/tag/podcast for our entire archive of shows and access to the iTunes, the RSS feed, and the MP3 download, if that's your jam. But until next time, never forget the power of play. See ya. Thanks, everybody.
Have fun at PAX, James.
I will. Bye-bye.